on Prime Crime.
Jim, why are you so certain that she's not coming back?
A missing persons case that turns into something else.
It's really hard to hide a body in the best of circumstances, but to hide your own body is a whole other level.
The interviews, the investigation, and the drama.
If you guys think I did something, arrest me and haul me in, because I didn't.
Hey there, everybody. I'm Jesse Weber, and welcome to Prime Crime. This is where we do a deeper dive into the most high-profile and memorable true crime cases. When a woman suddenly goes missing, that's when the questions start.
Hi, how are you? Any luck?
No.
Okay, can we come in and talk?
Sure, come on.
It's April 26, 2013 in Pittsfield, Wisconsin. Law enforcement are about to begin an eerie investigation.
You got up at 4 o'clock in the
About
morning.
4 o'clock, 3:30, between 3:30 and 4.
The voice you're hearing is that of 67-year-old James Prokopovitz.
And your wife was not around at that
Not
time?
at that time. I got up, started a pot of coffee, because sometimes she's down in the basement or whatever, and I hollered for her and hollered for her, and I thought maybe she fell asleep down
Sure.
there. And I went down, she wasn't there, went upstairs and looked. I looked all over through the house, couldn't find her.
Prokopovitz tells law enforcement that his wife of over 20 years, 59-year-old Victoria Prokopovitz, suddenly disappeared.
First thing I did, I jumped in the truck. And I rode every road. I went up and down, because she does like to go for a walk.
I was one of the first detectives to have responded to the Prokopovitz residence. Our first line responders, our police officers, had been on scene for a number of hours, and they had been utilizing numerous search efforts.
Did she leave her purse?
Yep, purse is here.
Does she have a driver's license?
Yeah, it's right.
Oh, right, okay. But no credit card, you said?
No,
So she wouldn't have jumped on a plane and went anywhere?
no credit card.
My concern was heightened when I began to learn and understand who our victim was in this case.
Does she have a job?
Nope, she doesn't work. She's on disability.
For what?
Depression and stuff. She's on psychiatrist care.
Her psychiatrist did testify. He testified to the diagnosis that he gave her as being bipolar disorder, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and anxiety disorder. She was also suffering from borderline personality disorder.
She had surgery. She had a colostomy. She had the bag on for about 3.5 to 4 months. I know she was really depressed about this surgery because she did have problems with control of her bowels.
That physically changes how your body functions. And for someone who is already suffering from serious mental illness, it's absolutely going to compound the depressive symptoms that she experiences.
There could be an ominous possibility.
She attempted suicide once about 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
She overdosed on, they figure it was aspirin. I honestly, God, think she may have finally,
Yeah.
because she attempted suicide. This
Right.
operation really threw her into
Yeah.
a downfall.
Yet there's a serious issue with this theory. If Victoria killed herself, where's her body?
Jim, why are you so certain that she's not coming back?
I just had that gut feeling, Roman. I don't know.
Fast forward 3 months, and investigators still haven't found Vicky's body. They call James back in for an interview.
It doesn't make sense. If she was to run off, she would take some things that are
You would think
important.
she would, yes.
If she was to hurt herself, she has no means of hiding her body.
No.
It's really hard to hide a body in the best of circumstances, but to hide your own body is a whole other level.
In my line of work, I have to go on common sense. You guys have a farmhouse in a pretty rural area. No car, no bicycle, no public transportation that's out there, no cabs, and really no friends. She goes missing during a short period of time at night. What does that leave me with?
James informs investigators about something Victoria had said that is particularly chilling.
She said if she was going to do it again, she was going to do it where nobody would find her. That's the words that came out of her mouth.
It's definitely quite a compelling statement. We were able to verify that something along those lines was indeed said. The victim in this case, Vicky, had recanted her story and apologized to her daughter for making that statement.
When we researched Vicky's medical history, her past episodes of self-harm, they weren't true, genuine attempts to actually end her life. We found them to actually be pleas for help.
If Vicky, though, was actually harmed, where's the evidence?
I had nothing to do with her disappearance. You know, if anything would have occurred in that house, there's no way it would have been put back together.
Your house is cluttered, that's absolutely true.
If this was something that was done in the home, well, of course her DNA would be in the home because she lived there. Of course her fingerprints would be in the home because she lived there. You know, if it was a situation, let's say, where it was a strangulation, there wouldn't necessarily be blood.
Coming up, when James is further questioned, things get heated.
Well, just think that.
No, I'm getting ready where I'm going to want an attorney pretty soon. This is getting on me.
Why?
It's starting to wear on me. I know he thinks I did something to it. I know he does. I'm getting that feeling. I'm sorry.
Hi, this is Dan Abrams with exciting news for all of our Law and Crime followers on YouTube. You can now get the live Law and Crime Network with YouTubeTV for all of your daily live trial coverage, legal news, expert analysis, and original true crime programs. Subscribe to YouTubeTV today and then locate Law and Crime in the channel guide. And for only $1.99 a month, you can add the network to your bundle. Watch Law and Crime every day with YouTubeTV. We put you in the jury box.
Guys, she'd been gone before for 2, 3, 4 hours sometimes, and she'd come home again. If you would have lived with this damn woman for 20-some years, you'd know what I'm trying to tell you.
It's July 2013 out in Wisconsin. Investigators are speaking with James Prokopovitz about his wife Victoria, who disappeared without a trace a few months back.
I didn't do nothing, so I'm not worried.
James is adamant he doesn't know what happened to Victoria, but does suggest she may have actually killed herself, especially since she attempted suicide in the past.
Right now I'm at the point where I hate her. I hate her for what she's doing to this family.
Investigators then hone in on some of the odd behavior of James. They start with the day of the disappearance.
I thought about calling
who?
the police, but I said, she has the right to do what she wants and disappear.
We were there to recreate what actually happened. What's normal, what's abnormal.
So you decided to go to work.
Yeah.
And this was despite the fact that you thought it was somewhat of an emergency that she wasn't around?
Not an emergency, a little bit unusual.
However, on the flip side, if the whole thing is a sham and it's a complete lie, it's very difficult.
I did call her on the phone before I left for work.
Can you explain that to me?
I just didn't.
There's also how James has been acting since his wife vanished.
I'm talking about perfect strangers, like the search parties. And what they say is that it strikes them as odd. They watch you mowing your lawn while these complete strangers to you and Vicky take their time out of their day to search for your wife.
I know, I understand that. I'm going to live my life the way I want to live my life. If people don't like it, they can move on. I'm not one to sit and dwell on a problem.
He's able to move on pretty quickly. It is certainly possible that someone who is experiencing grief would not want to experience the emotions associated with the grief. Some individuals will compartmentalize.
I don't eat.
How come you don't eat? How come you don't sleep?
I don't know why I don't sleep. I don't know.
How long has this been happening?
Since she's been gone.
The not eating and sleeping can 100% be signs and symptoms of grief. But the other thing is true too, where having difficulty sleeping and not being able to eat could actually be signs of guilt as the weight presses on him more and more year after year, time after time.
As the interview goes on, James' temper begins to flare.
A lot of the family wouldn't accept that she would walk down the road, especially
Well,
with her bum leg.
Well, I'm sorry, she did. If you guys are accusing me of something, I want to know right now.
Why are you getting upset?
Well, because you don't believe a damn word coming out of my mouth right now.
When he's asked certain things that he's not able to explain, he would erupt in anger. That obviously didn't work with us. That did not cause us to walk away.
She may have hurt herself. Is it possible that under those circumstances you may have helped her?
No, that's it. I want an attorney, I'm done. You're accusing me of something now. No, that's it. I want a lawyer.
The door's open, Jim.
I want a lawyer. I swear to God, I had nothing to do with my wife's disappearance.
It doesn't take a lot of imagination to see the capacity of someone to become that angry and what they may be capable of.
During a more civil portion of the interview, James reveals a very important piece of information. He's been seeing an old girlfriend.
So what is that, where you met this other girl?
Yeah, she happened to be here. I never saw her up until about 6 weeks ago. Been seeing her pretty near every weekend. I'm honest with you.
Do you go there to see her?
Yeah.
There was a long-standing history between those two individuals that he really, really minimized. So, that immediately became curious to us.
Up next, the pressure on James intensifies.
I almost wish I was dead right now. I'm getting so tired of this.
You are so ready, willing, and able to move on.
I can't sit and dwell on a problem.
It's 2015, 2 years after Victoria Prokopovitz suddenly disappeared from her Wisconsin home. Investigators still don't have an answer as to what happened to the missing wife and mother. What they do know is that something seems a bit off with Victoria's husband, James. He claimed he woke up and Victoria was gone. He even suggested that she may have killed herself, a questionable theory. Interestingly, shortly after Victoria vanished, James began dating a former girlfriend, Kathy Friday.
And has he ever given you any indication that he had something to do with something?
I truly believe him. He says, I did not have anything to do with it.
So what's the best guesstimate?
Is she somewhere else alive?
No.
How do we know that?
We can track people financially.
Okay.
In the search for more answers, investigators questioned James again in summer 2016.
So I want you to tell me where you were seated when you guys had dinner. Do you remember? No. Okay.
But it was at the
3.5 years ago, you're asking me where I sat at a kitchen table? My God, man.
Anger in his eyes was just so apparent. And he was angry that we once again came back to ask a question. When you have loving, supporting family members, they are eager to interact with law enforcement. They generally are begging you to please investigate more.
Do exactly what you did. Yeah, I walked over here, I said, honey!
Okay.
She didn't answer.
Okay, then go
Then
ahead.
I went here, went down in the basement.
Go ahead.
Thought she was down here. Down the steps. Honey!
Okay.
Do you remember why it is that you felt the importance to look in every spot?
Because she tried to kill herself down here in the basement once. That's why.
Okay.
The investigators asked James to reenact his search efforts the morning his wife went missing.
You're driving around, what are you thinking, what are you looking for?
I'm just looking for somebody walking down the road.
And had Vicky ever been this far away from a house walking?
No.
First of all, he's under the influence of beer when he's doing it. He was just belligerent. He was very in your face about it.
And I might have missed the road out here.
And that's perfectly understandable.
Jesus Christ, you're asking me stuff 3.5 years ago. What roads did I go to? I'm sorry, Roman, I just don't remember.
But it was about...
When the investigators visit James a few months later, his outlook becomes grim.
I'm 71. I hope the hell I have a heart attack and die. I'm tired of worrying. I wish you guys would find her, deceased or alive. I don't care. And if she comes back alive, good. Then everybody will look foolish. And all you're doing is waiting for me to say something a little bit different. Then you say, oh, he's lying to us. Now we got him going.
And in 2019, that's exactly what happened. When we return, James's words come back to haunt him.
You lied on the stand today? I did that, I'll admit that, but I do not know where she is, so help me God.
Think all court shows are the same?
We're talking about your father. Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Think again. Judge Caprio rules with common sense.
I was having contractions. I was rushing to the hospital.
Inspector Quinn, what does justice demand? Jail?
And compassion.
I'm going to take the circumstances into consideration.
The best court experience I've had.
Clearly, Judge, he's been in a court before.
Get caught in Providence.
Hi, I'm Dan Abrams. In the exploding legal and true crime genre, Law&Crime is the only network that has it all.
Good evening and welcome.
This is a complicated case.
Don't really jump to conclusions.
Welcome to Prime Crime Tonight. Another day of drama between both sides.
From multiple live trials daily to original and compelling programming, the Law&Crime Network is everywhere, and we invite you inside the jury box. This is Law&Crime.
My gut feeling says she found some place to do it, and we're not going to find her.
For 6 years, the 2013 disappearance of mother and wife Victoria Prokopovitz baffled investigators. While her husband James maintained she may have killed herself or ran off, law enforcement always kept a close eye on him. They would question James over the years about his alibi as well as his odd behavior, and then the web of lies started to unravel.
A number of years into the investigation, we were able to determine that when Jim was out in the middle of the night and had relayed that he was searching for his wife, we were able to show that he was not where he said he was.
The real turning point, though, for James concerned his girlfriend Kathy Friday. The couple always claimed they randomly ran into each other after Victoria's disappearance.
And then you ended up at the casino, and that's where you...
casino, spent some money and ran into her and...
However, when they testify at a secret court hearing in 2019, their troubles are about to begin.
You're under arrest. I know. Kathy's been placed under arrest. Now, when she took the stand, she got the same admonishment that you did. We know that there are some things that weren't true. The meeting at the casino did not happen.
No, it did not.
Roman and I believed for years we knew that they were lying to us. But until those lies are actually exposed, that just was a surreal moment.
How does the casino story, how does that come about? Be honest with me.
We just figured it'd be better than saying we met and shacked up right away the first night. But I do not know where she is. You don't want to be caught now? Okay, I'll admit, I killed her. There, I killed her. Kathy had nothing to do with it. I mean, what you did there. I don't know. I don't know where she is.
I believed him when he said it. However, I didn't take it as necessarily a confession. He was willing to do and say, and he verbalized as such, anything that he could in order to be able to get Kathy not to suffer any of the consequences for his behavior.
At the time of James' arrest, a new theory circulated about what he did to Victoria.
Jim, what would happen to a body if you put it in those sludge ponds where you worked? I don't know. You'd probably never find it.
He's obviously very comfortable with the rural areas nearby and knew that a sludge pond is something that would be very hard to search and it would be very hard to recover a body.
Do you think the police can prove you killed your wife if we don't have Vicky's body? I've heard people being convicted without finding the body, so I assume yes.
And that's what the government tried to do. James Prokopovitz was charged with first-degree intentional homicide, obstruction, and perjury in connection with Victoria's death. After 8 years, he finally went on trial.
It is incredibly difficult to prosecute a case without a body because you don't know what really happened to the person. Is it possible that he was wrongfully accused? Of course, anything is possible in this world, but is it reasonable? The defense that the victim, Vicky, killed herself and somehow hid her own body defies logic and common sense. You had a man that very quickly moved on with a new woman, and this woman was in the picture during the time of the marriage to Vicky. Nothing he was saying was lining up with the evidence that they had.
Prosecutors also presented the jury with one more crucial piece of evidence. James allegedly told 2 inmates that no one would be able to identify his missing wife, as there would be no blood nor teeth.
As to the offense of first-degree intentional homicide, the verdict has been marked guilty.
After a jury convicted Prokopovitz of homicide, obstruction, and perjury, the 75-year-old was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As for Kathy Friday, after she was convicted of obstruction and perjury, she was found dead in her jail cell from an apparent suicide.
I don't think she knew the truth. He withheld that from her.
Kathy's death is just yet another tragedy in this particular case that has resulted based on Jim's actions.
Our mom remains missing, and we will continue searching. And I would hope that with time, we could find forgiveness and peace in this tragedy.
With regards to finding her body, there is a possibility he may talk to someone in prison. There's a possibility that on his deathbed, he may feel some guilt or remorse. There's also the possibility of, with climate change and things shifting, maybe her body may actually emerge from where she was buried. I do hope for her family's sake that they do get that final closure. And if they do not, they are at least at peace that justice was served and that wherever she is in a better place.
And there you have it. What started out with suspicion ended in a conviction and sentence. Yet that doesn't mean that everything is settled. At the time of this recording, we still don't know where Victoria's body is, and we're getting no answers from James. So it seems that while there's some closure in this case, as of right now, there's still more that Victoria's loved ones want and need to know. That's all we have for you here on Prime Crime. Leave us your comments on Instagram and Twitter with the hashtag PrimeCrime. As always, thank you for joining us, and until next time, be safe.